And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Ascension Curse of the Golden Isles, which is expansion 200 million, I don't know. There's a lot of expansions for Ascension, but this is the second one that follows the pirate theming that they did, which also changed the game up slightly. Now, you might be watching this review and say, I've never played Ascension before. Well, normally I would point you to my original review, but I figured it's about time we take a look at this from the ground up. So if you've never played Ascension before, I'm going to explain to you how the game works, an overview of sorts, and then we'll come back and I'll talk specifically my thoughts currently on Ascension and what I think about this expansion in particular. In this game, each player has the same starting deck of 10 cards. You have a bunch of apprentices, which give you runes, which is a sort of virtual currency in the game. You get a couple militia, which has attack power, which you use to attack monsters. You get a buccaneer, who gives you a rune, and a crew, something you'll keep track of. Each player has a ship. As you accrue crew, you'll move this up. You have a maximum of 9 crew. And a navigator, who gives you a rune and lets you move your ship 1 extra space. Now, on a player's turn, they're going to shuffle their deck, and you're going to draw 5 of these cards. On your turn, you'll play all your cards, do what they say. You may move your ship 1 space on the board. Then you'll discard every card, whether you played it or not. Then draw 5 more. If your deck runs out, you shuffle all the cards you have into your deck again. So for example here, I would have 3 runes and 2 attack. This is the board where there is a pirate ship on the board. Each player has their own ship where they keep track of crew. You'll start with 0, and on your first turn, you put your ship anywhere you want. After that, on each turn, you can move it 1 space. When you move a ship, you're going to be able to buy or attack the card that's next to it. There's a deck of cards here that are better than the cards you start with, and you can buy or attack these. So for example, this has a cost of 1 rune. In the future, when I play it, I draw a card, and the first time anyone raids me, I can reveal this to stop someone else from raiding me. So it's a nice defensive card. When I buy this, I'm going to stick it in my discard pile, and I'll replace it with the top card from the deck. If you buy a spot where there's a cursed treasure or attack something, if you'll notice here, this is a creature. When you attack these, you use attack power, so I need at least 4 attack power to take this out. If I do so, I get this reward where I get 3 and everyone else destroys the highest cost construct to destroy it, but these always go to the void. Monsters don't go into your deck. But whether you buy it or defeat the monster in a spot where there's a cursed treasure, you're going to get this cursed treasure and you'll put it face up in front of you. That always makes the ghost pirate move. And then we'll pull out a new cursed treasure from the bag. They always have a color on them, so this color tells me that this one goes to the blue area. And there's another spot to get cursed treasures. Players want to get cursed treasures because of 2 reasons. 1, there are 2 points at the end of the game. 2, if you have 2 of the same symbol in front of you, it doesn't matter the color, you can flip them both. They're still worth 2 points at the end of the game, but they're going to give you something special. For example, these will let you draw 2 cards. Here, you get runes. Here, you get crew, etc. Players can steal these from each other whenever they do a raid action. Many of the cards say the word raid. You can take a treasure from someone else unless they have a defensive card like the one we just saw. Also, as you're moving your ship around, sometimes when you buy a card, it will have the word anchor on it. This says draw 2 cards. This happens when you take the card, if you're in the spot as you get that card. Sometimes you can get a card a different way. But if you get the card when you're in that spot, then you can use the anchor ability. And they kind of have a special border to remind you of that. If you don't like anything out there, you're always welcome to just buy some generic cards. These cost runes, mystics, and heavy infantry, but they give you 2 runes and 2 attack power. Alright, so that's kind of the way the game is going to play. Many cards will give you points. These are victory points over here. There'll be a certain number of victory points in the game based on the number of players. When all the points are gone, that triggers the end of the game. You're going to count up all the point values on the cards that are in your deck, plus the points that you've gotten over the course of the game, and whoever has the most is the winner. With that being said, let's take a closer look at some of the cards in this set. In Ascension, there are 4 factions: Lifebound, Void, Enlightened, and Mechana. And then, of course, there are monsters. Each faction has heroes and constructs. Heroes, when you play a hero, you do what it says. A construct, you leave it in front of you and it stays there unless a card quote-unquote destroys it, which just means it goes in your discard pile and you have to wait till you get it again before you can play it. But they often let you do something once a turn. Like, for example, once a turn when you play a mechanic construct or gain a treasure, you get a rune. So that's pretty cool. Each of the different factions has kind of a different feel to it, but you can have all of them in your deck. We'll start with Void. Void lets you banish cards. That lets you send them to, well, the Void. And this can thin your deck down. You don't like having those little weak cards in your deck that are these pathetic +1 runes, and you want to replace them with +2 runes. These cards let you get rid of stuff. So you can see here, for example, you can banish this and another card in your hand to get extra 2 attack. Well, if you get this as an anchor, you can banish a card in your hand or your discard pile. This gives you crew. And some of you are saying, wait a minute, you've been talking a lot about crew, but you didn't say what crew does. You're right. Your ship is going to gain crew. Every time the pirate ship hits you, you lose a crew. What's crew for? Well, your crew, you have a max of 9, like I said, but whenever you're at a spot, you can buy the card, that the spot you are, with crew. Or, if it is an enemy, you can spend crew to attack it. So crew is kind of like a wild resource, but you have to be in the spot again to use it, and you have to kind of, watch out for that ghost pirate who's chasing you all the time. So this lets you get crew, and you can see all different ones. This is a nice construct that gives you an attack every turn, and whenever I defeat a non-cultist monster, gain a crew. What do you mean by non-cultist monster? Well, the Snapping Titan is a non-cultist monster, but next to the board is a cultist. And if you don't know what else to attack, you can always punch the cultist in the face. For every 2 attack you use, he gives you 1 victory point. So this helps with the non-cultist monsters. The Wave Trout, I like this one. The Teeth gives you 3 attack. And you get a cursed treasure from the bag every time you kill a non-cultist, which I like. Naka, the Pirate Queen, has a special ability, Echo, if there's a Void card in your pile. And don't worry about the special abilities in this set. Almost all of them tell you exactly what they do on the card. The best Void card is the Abyssal Spear, and every turn you get 2 attack. And once per turn you get a Void card for free. I really like that. You're going to see one of these for each of the sets. Moving on to the opposite of Void is Lifebound. Lifebound has a lot of Unite, which you get if you play more than 1 together. But these let you draw cards, get victory points, and you notice a lot of crew from Lifebound. Here's one that gives you a point every turn. And if you get 3 points from non-monster cards, you get a cursed treasure from the treasure bag. So you can see there's a lot of cards that are going to give you treasure. So I like Lifebound's a faction I like a lot. This one's a fun one. 2 runes, 2 points, and raid somebody else, stealing one of their treasures. Or just the Mab Fairy Queen, who gives you 3 crew and 3 points. I really like that card. They also have one that lets you acquire Lifebound cards for free. It's a little cheaper, and it gives you 2 points once per round. Still a pretty solid card. If you see this and I can afford it, I'm buying it. Mechana has the most constructs in the game, and you've already seen a little bit of that, like this one here. Once per turn, when you play a Mechana construct or gain a treasure, you get an attack. This one here, if you have 2 or more constructs, take a cursed treasure. There's a lot of cards that give you cursed treasure, which, by the way, means if you play this and mix it with other Ascension sets, which you can, realize you'll have some dilution and you won't get as many cursed treasures. The Pyratron, which I really like, it says at the bottom, where did he get that at? Whenever you do this, get a crew. So there's a lot of that. Admiral Ironheart is pretty powerful. It also lets you move your ship to any space. The Lightning Volt Falcon, whenever you play a construct or gain a treasure, draw a card. It's also worth 6 points. And then the coolest Mechana card, here, once per turn, get a crew. Really great card. And you're also going to get a Mechana card for 0. Considering that there's many expensive ones, this is maybe the best card in the set. Enlightened usually lets you do all kinds of stuff, draw cards, get crew, all different things here. I can move my ship in extra space once per turn, so it's nice to have the compass of the eye. I like the name of this one, the Relentless Skipper. And then here's Gentist Captain First Rate. Take a cursed treasure, and if you control 5 more treasure, you kill a monster with cost 5 or less without paying its cost. Fantastic. And then the most expensive card in the game, once per turn, draw a card, which is really powerful. And then you can get enlightened cards for free. And then there's all sorts of monsters, and they really leaning into this. This is very Pirates of the Caribbean. with, and oh look, mermaids, but if you beat them, you get a cursed treasure. Colossus, Nautilus, the Siren Queen, the Trench Tyrant, and then the biggest one, Mara the Cursed. Now, some of these cards have fate on them when they show up, and when you draw them and put them out, you have to do whatever it says. So you move this and the Ghost Pirate into the deep. So Mara goes there, and you got to go to the deep to fight her. So some monsters will show up in the deep. If you beat her, though, you get 6, and you put it in front of you. When it's in front of you, this Ghost Pirate no longer takes crew from you, and once per turn, you can defeat a monster for free, basically, if you're there. Really powerful card, but you need to get together 8 attack to do so. Anyway, that's pretty much what's in this set. Let's keep going. So it's a long board. I'm not usually a big fan of long boards. I almost wish the board was this way, but other than that, I don't mind. You have a nice insert here to keep everything in. I used to make fun of Ascension artwork. Those days are long gone because the artwork for the game is now fantastic. The new rules are pretty easy to understand. They even have in the rule book, they have all the rules, but if you already know how to play Ascension, just turn to page 10. And if you don't know Ascension, you read the rest of the rules, and then these are just extra rules. So it's a nice combo. Card quality is fine. It's the same as it always is. These bags, I don't mind the cursed treasures. They're different colors. But, it shows if they've been used with a letter on one side. The symbols aren't hard to figure out, but this bag is hard to fit your hand in. I could just get a couple fingers in there. That's one minor complaint. The other is, while I love the ships, these dials move a little easily, so you have to be careful when moving them that you don't knock the number of crew you have. But those are both minor complaints. Other than that, looks fantastic. Now, when I first played Ascension, I thought it's a good deck builder, but not as good as the other deck builders, all 2 of them that were out there at the time. There was Dominion and Thunderstone and Arctic Scavengers. There wasn't many. But as the years have gone by, and they have definitely gone by since Ascension first came out, I believe it was in 2009, so it's been 12 years, going on 13, this game has really won me over. Now, part of that is because there's an excellent app online that you can play. Fantastic way to play the game. But even inside, there are so many combinations, so cool things, and Ascension is a really fun game to play that doesn't require a ton of deep thought. Now, I'm not saying the game is stupid, like who cares, you don't need any brain power to play it. You still want to make good decisions, but you can kind of lean back and just have a good time. I got this, I'll buy this. I have this, I'll do this. I got this amazing combo. It's fantastic, and it's fun. Throw in the pirate theme. I really like the pirate theme. So I go through all the different Ascension expansions, and someday I'll rank them all because I very much have my opinions on my favorites and least favorites of the set. But the pirate games are up near the top because 1, I kind of like the idea of moving the ship around. 2, I really like using the crew to buy or attack a card. Having that kind of WoW resource is fantastic. 3, having that ship chase you, it's a small bit of tension, but it's there. The cursed treasures in this one, they're fine. I like them. It's something to get, and again, remember, they're worth 2 points at the end of the game. So it gives a little bit of interaction where you can steal stuff from people, but it's not that big of a deal. I haven't totally wrecked you. The anchor special ability, where you go to different spots and then you get to do what's there, that's okay. But the cards in this one I really like. I like those 4 big cards that let you do something every turn, and you can also, at once a turn, take a card for free of that type. That's pretty amazing. And so mixing this with the last one is a good idea, to have one big deck and then there's multiple things going around. That's very much recommended. I really think Ascension is fun. I think that this set is why you can mix them. I feel like the pirate one feels like it should be its own one. And by the way, if you mix all the sets, it's like 2,000 cards or something at this point, which is ridiculous. You don't want to play with a stack this big, but you can. But I would keep these separate. And they're fun. It gives you the exact same feel as Ascension, but with that fun dread pirate type thing. Like I said, very Pirates of the Caribbean style, where you're fighting pirates and skeletons. Oh my. So this is fast and fun. Ascension works with many player counts. I personally prefer it best with 2 because it's back and forth. But you can play up to 4, and it's zippy, it moves. This adds a little bit of interaction. It's a fun expansion. So that's where you go. That's Ascension Curse of the Golden Isles. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. See you later. Dice Tower Judgment approved.